the Arsenal takeover. I would love to discuss the Arsenal takeover as well. Tom Canton, the beautiful writer at Football.London, one of the best writers, by the way, when it comes to, Arsenal content. Apparently, he's been given a job at an opening at Football.London, and I really love it. I really love it. Congratulations to you, my man, Tom Canton. I really love you so much, and I really love your work. So what Tom did was to talk about the Arsenal takeover, and in particular the Qatar takeover. He spoke to one of the journalists or specialists that do understand Qatar football, and it was kind of an assessment. Can it happen? Can the Qataris can they buy Arsenal? Yes, they have found themselves much linked to football. They love football. They're much interested now in getting into football. They're owning a couple of football projects around Europe, even outside Europe. But can they really buy Arsenal? So like I said, credit to Football.London. This is not my work. Credit to Football.London, as well as credit to my man Tom Canton at the QATAR. So if you want to have better reads, you could check him out at the QATAR. He has very good reads, by the way, very, very good reads, and that's why I really read his work. Great reads there. So he said, he titled the article, "The Qatari Takeover, the Reasons Behind a Social Media Hype Train Giving False Hope to Arsenal Fans," by Tom Canton, Arsenal fan, brand writer, and presenter. All right. Thank you so much, Tom. The Arsenal fans' relationship with owners Stan Kroenke and Josh Kroenke of KSE is fractious, to say the least. Protests have been irregular in number, but inconsistent in attendance, owing to lack of organization. The calls for a takeover are many, but the likelihood of such an occurrence is very, very slim. The last genuine attempt to buy the Gunners came earlier this year, as Daniel Ek, CEO of Spotify, proposed an offer believed to be in the region of 1.8 billion. That was knocked back back with a Swedish entrepreneur detailing that Josh Kroenke had simply replied, "We do not need the money." Yet another 8th place to finish, and the animosity between the fans, especially on social media, and the Kroenke family has never been greater. Right. So therefore, when a verified account of the former Qatari president of Club Al Arabi, Khalif bin Ahmad Al Thani, began tweeting cryptic messages about the Arsenal, it sent large proportions of the Arsenal fan base into a meltdown of pleas for it to be true. Okay, it makes sense. The fan brands team recently spoke to Qatari football expert Mitch Freely and Ahmed Hashim, who both concurred this was most likely a social media ploy. Freely described it all for a show. All right. However, this has not stopped supporters from continuing to hope for a bid, and therefore further investigation into the likelihood of an Arsenal Qatari takeover was necessary. Thank you, Tom. Speaking to Ben Jacobs, a sports journalist with years of experience or expertise, just to be specific, in the field, the fan brands team learned of several reasons as to why such a takeover would not happen. Jacobs opens by firstly breaking down the blunt reality of a fanfare spawned from what is simply a tweet on social media. All right. The promoted stories were the main reason a Qatari takeover of Arsenal won't happen is there is no substance to the talk beyond a glib tweet from Sheikh Khalifa bin Ahmad Al Thani, explains Jacob. He does have royal links and is the former president of Al Rabi. So there is some football pedigree there too, right? So the lad actually that wants to kick out the Cronkies, or that tweeted that he wants the Cronkies out, is a former president of Qatar club Al Arabi. However, football expertise, or football expert, not expertise really, says it's more like this kind of takeover is more on social media than in reality. Well, I don't want to use the word hoax, because the last time I used the word hoax, many of you really attacked me. But the truth is, it could be a hoax. Could be a hoax. So Jacob says, yet he has nowhere near the personal wealth to buy Arsenal. Any takeover would also go through Qatar Sports Investments, and if Al Thani knew of or was part of such a bid, he wouldn't be tweeting cryptic clues. Okay. Qatar Sports Investment are very secretive and rarely allude to investments until they are 100% done. The second insight is a bitter pill of Arsenal supporters to hear, however, is bluntly true. Arsenal's value as a club is arguably the worst it has been since KSE became involved in 2007. There is no real value in buying Arsenal, Jacob says. Come on, that's the least I expected. That is the least expected. But it is also true, guys, it's also true. It could be true that Arsenal's value does not attract people to buy it. Because since 2007, 2006, Arsenal made it to the UEFA Champions League final. 2007, we died. The Cronkies get involved, and we died. Since then, Arsenal's value, both in picture and probably in stocks, has been dying out. If Jacob says there is no reason, there is no real value in buying Arsenal, probably he makes some sense. And maybe this is the reason as to why Kroenke doesn't want to invest in the club, because it feels like it's already been eaten up and it's beyond recover. It's beyond repair. I don't know. But that's what football expert says, and it says a prospective Qatari owner would be inheriting a strong but relatively restrictive brand for what they would want us to use, to use it for, and ultimately paying way above the odds. Stan Kroenke seemingly wants at least 2.15, that is 2.15 billion. So would stand to make a cool 1.1 billion profit if successful. No Qatari investor, no group like Qatar Sports Investment would pay that kind of price simply for vanity's sake. For that kind of money, they would want to inherit a side capable of qualifying regularly and quickly for the Champions League, and they would expect to inherit a team built for Europe rather than have to spend millions more in order to get there. Costly squad rebuilding on top of an inflated sale price would put off Qatar investments. It makes no business sense to pay such a humongous price with no guarantees of short-term success. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well said. Oh, we should say well done. It looks like the Qataris will not buy Arsenal because the deal doesn't make sense for them. Like, it doesn't make sense for them. And I'm not really surprised why the deal doesn't make sense for them, because Tom Canton puts it very clear that at the moment it looks like Arsenal has lost its value. We have gone down, and the Cronkies would want anyone to overpay so that they can get out of the ship. They just want to jump out of it without making any losses. So they would want around 2.15 billion. The club's worth the club is currently the club's real worth is around 1.1 billion actually. So they would make a crazy profit of 1.15 billion and they would flee, they would run. Now the Qataris are saying, in their sense, it would make no sense to buy a club that at the moment is set up to fail. It's absolutely on the brink of failure. They are not close to going back to Champions League. They're not close to going back to anywhere. They cannot even win the FA Cup. Why would we buy them? Why would we spend 2 billion? Oh, sorry. But I'm sorry, it makes a lot of sense for me now. It just makes a lot of sense for me.